Do you always stop before you speak because you need to translate in your head? Don't worry, because today you're going to learn 8 tips to help you start thinking and speaking in English with confidence. And the last tip is the most important, so make sure you watch till the end. Welcome back to JForce English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Tip number 1, surround yourself in English. You might live in a non-English speaking country, or maybe you live in an English speaking country. Either way, you need to make your environment as English as possible. You need to immerse yourself in the language as much as you can. And you have control over your room, your workstation, your kitchen, your bathroom. You absolutely have control over your environment. Do you know what these are? They're sticky notes, and these are your best friend when you're learning a language because you can put them all over your house. You can label objects. You can remind yourself of vocabulary that you're learning, verb structures, verb tenses. You can put them everywhere. And just seeing them, even if you don't focus on it, just seeing it quickly, your brain is processing that, remembering it, and learning it. Other easy things you can do, you can write your daily to-do list in English instead of your native language. You can change all of your devices to display in English. And you can get creative and think of many different ways that you can immerse yourself in English in your environment. But by the end of the week, I want you to go out and buy some sticky notes and start labeling one room of your house. Tip 2, think during everyday activities. There are so many activities that you do every single day that are wasted time. But you can turn that wasted time into productive time if you simply think in English as you're doing that activity. Some common wasted time activities that you do every day are working out, having a shower. What a perfect time to think in English. For me, is definitely getting ready. I always make sure I do something productive while I'm putting on my makeup, drying my hair. Otherwise, it's wasted time. Making breakfast, doing chores, and of course, commuting. Commuting is a great time to think in English. And I'm sure you spend a lot of time waiting in lines, waiting for things to finish. Waiting is the perfect time to think in English. But you're probably wondering, how can I turn commuting into productive time? Well, that leads to tip number 3, which is to make simple observations. This is such a powerful exercise because it forces you to become very present in your environment. So you'll also be practicing mindfulness at the same time, which is very good for your mental health. So as you're out in the world, maybe you're walking, commuting, waiting in line, and it's wasted time, I want you to simply look around and observe your environment. What do you see? And your goal is to make simple observations. And of course, you're doing this in English. You're thinking in English. So let's say you're at a park. You're going for a walk, or you're walking your dog, you're eating your lunch, you're at a park. You can make some simple observations. There's a big tree. The tree is green. The tree has leaves. There's a pond. There are ducks in the pond. There are mountains. The sky is blue. So turn wasted time into productive time by making simple observations, and it will force you to think in English. But let's move on to tip number 4, which is to add complexity. First of all, don't underestimate the power of simple sentences. Don't think that making a very simple sentence like the tree is green isn't helping you. It absolutely is helping you to think in English and get more comfortable thinking in English. But of course, I understand you want to add complexity. So let's talk about some ways to add complexity. One of the easiest is to add an adjective, adverb, or modifier. The palm tree has vibrant leaves. So adding vibrant makes that simple sentence sound more complex. You can share your opinion or make a general statement. In my opinion, spending time outside every day is important for our mental health. Another great way is to compare and contrast. You could say, these mountains are more impressive than the mountains near my work. So start simple and then add complexity to your simple sentences. And remember, you're doing this in English. You're thinking these thoughts in English. So you can make observations in any environment that you're in, whether it's an interesting environment like a beautiful park or a boring environment like a plain room. You can still make observations. But let's move on to tip 5, which is to use images. You can use Google Images and simply look for any style of images that you like. And if you're not sure what to search for, just search interesting images on Google Images. And you can look through the images and then find one that catches your eye. As for me, this image with the cat, of course, caught my eye. So now you're going to make simple statements, simple observations about this image. The cat is adorable. The cat is standing on a mountain. The cat looks majestic, standing on this breathtaking mountain. So remember, start simple and then add complexity as you do this exercise. And I recommend doing this for 5 to 10 minutes a day. And by doing this, you're going to turn wasted time into productive time. Tip 6, speak out loud. Until now, these tips have focused on thinking in your head. You can also write them down, like writing your to-do list in English, writing your sticky notes, but I want you to speak out loud. What I mean by that is you're producing sound that other people can hear. Right now, I'm speaking out loud because you want to gain confidence speaking as well. So thinking those simple statements and verbalizing, saying them out loud is a different skill. Now, even if you're at a beautiful park, I still want you to verbalize your statements, your observations, say them out loud. If you feel self-conscious doing this, then you can always just pick up your phone and pretend you're talking to someone on your phone, even though you're just talking to yourself. Tip number 7, one of my favorites, a daily recap. At the end of your day, you can simply summarize your day. And by doing that, you force yourself to think in English, think of different verb tenses, different vocabulary that you need to summarize your day. You can also talk about the best part of your day, 3 things you're grateful for, any areas for improvement today. That could force you to think of some interesting vocabulary and grammatical structures as well. And you can also plan your day for tomorrow. So these are all the different things you can do for tip number 7. Now for tip number 7, you can think in your head. You can think about 3 things you're grateful for. You can also speak them out loud. You can verbalize the best part of your day. Even if nobody is there to listen to it, that doesn't matter. Now, you can also keep a journal, which forces you to write all of this information down. My recommendation is that you schedule 10 minutes in your day before you go to bed to write in your journal, to write about your day. And finally, tip number 8, be patient. This is so important because many students, they try these tips once or twice, they get frustrated because they don't get instant results, and then they quit or say, I'll never learn English, I'll never become fluent. But the reality is that they weren't patient enough to get the result. So let's imagine that you improve your ability to think in English by 1% each day. 1%, that's not very much, right? But at the end of the year, how much of an improvement would that be? 365% improvement. That's pretty amazing, right? So small improvements absolutely matter. Getting better by 1% each day matters. You will not notice any results after 1 day of following this advice. You will notice some results after 30 days of consistently following this advice. You will notice good results after 60 days, and great results after 90 days, and incredible results after 365 days. So you just need to be patient. So put in the comments, I'm committed 1% better each day. I'm committed, put that in the comments. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And I want you to fill your vocabulary with expressions that you can use to make your simple statements and add complexity. So watch this lesson right now.